You're listening to the I Love Mortgage Brokering Network, brought to you by Finmo.
Hey, Scott Packford here. If you're a new agent under 2 years and you're trying to figure out how the heck do I get my mortgage business going faster, I got a solution for you. Go to get10funded.com and check out a free training on how we help rookie mortgage brokers become rock stars. Now, if you're a new agent who's ambitious and you want to make more than $100K a year and you're coachable, we have a step-by-step plan we'll walk you through to help you find and fund your first 10 mortgages. We'll show you how to build a successful referral-based business that you can scale. Check out get10funded.com. That's get10funded.com. And thanks again for checking out this episode.
Welcome to the I Love Alt Mortgages podcast, brought to you by Home Trust. And now, your host, Brennan Trenouth.
Hey, Broker Nation. This episode, I am joined by Christine Zhu, President and CEO at Money Broker Canada and Ready Capital Mortgage Investment Trust. With over 20 years in the industry, Christine shares her insights on the growing alternative market and why brokers could benefit from increasing their B business. Plus, Christine talks about the importance of communication, dependability, and honesty in the industry. Hey, Broker Nation, this is I Love Alt Mortgages. I am your host, Brennan Trenouth, and today we are sitting down with Christine Zhu, President and CEO of Money Broker Canada. Christine, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Brennan. Looking forward to chat with you.
Absolutely. So what we like to do with our guests is learn a little bit more about their history within the mortgage industry and, anything that they did prior. So is that something that you could kind of walk us through, your kind of career here in the mortgage industry and maybe what you did before you got into it, if there was anything?
Yeah, actually, I came to Canada in 1989 as an international student. And I graduated from U of T and become a financial advisor at that time. But year 2000, that time I was married and then we tried to get our first house and we've been declined. So I went through the yellow pages. At that time, everybody's still using yellow pages.
Sure.
So there's a section called mortgage broker. So we found a mortgage broker and helped us to get a mortgage. Actually, my first mortgage was with Home Trust. So yeah, that's 20 years back.
Yeah. So then what happened?
So being a financial advisor, I think a young financial advisor is not that easy. And at that time I got married and I can't really carry my briefcase and visit all the clients at that time. I have my first kid at that time. So I thought, I should change to a career that people come visiting me instead of me visiting them. I think the mortgage broker, that's probably a good business to get into that because people really need the money instead of we have to tell them what do they need in financial planning.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and at the time I saw the ad on Global Mail to say mortgage broker wanted, no experience necessary. So I joined. So that was year 2000.
Wow.
So since then, I've been from a rocky broker, know nothing about mortgages until now. I think this year, since we have a system change and I calculated, I think me personally have done over 10,000 mortgages.
Wow. That's amazing. That's a lot of mortgages.
Yeah, so if you repeat the same thing over again for past 22 years, I think, you're an expert. So I'm pretty proud I can say I'm a mortgage expert in the industry right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Obviously, it probably wasn't a nice feeling being turned down by the banks for a mortgage, but then you were able to, find a mortgage broker who then was able to help you find a solution that you needed at the time. And funny enough, obviously, it was Home Trust that helped you out there too. So, I mean, that's a good story there. So yeah, obviously 20 plus years now in the mortgage industry. In 2018, I believe it was that you opened up Money Broker. Why did you decide to open up Money Broker? Maybe what's the background behind the name Money Broker? And then what was your kind of vision for how you wanted that to look moving forward?
Yeah, so I've been in the industry for so long, and initially I did most mortgages in A side because everybody's income qualified, everybody was looking for the best interest rate. That's the first part of my career, actually, probably 1/3 part of my career. And later on, more and more clients we deal with who are self-employed, who has mainly this income credit problem, they cannot get approval from the Schedule A banks. And we help them to get mortgages through the alternative financing route from the Schedule B lenders, the private lenders. So later part of my career, that's main emphasis, that's actually naturally main clienteles are not Schedule A clients. End up to be, I think in 2018, probably close to 80% of my business are alternative mortgages.
Right.
So I've been with mortgage architects for so long, and alternative mortgage, it's higher risk mortgages, especially private mortgages,
Sure.
especially lots of newbies in the industry. They don't know how to fill out the form. There are so many compliance issues and the risk issues. And so my president from Mortgage Architect, actually, Don Lee, called me and said, Christine, we really want you to open your own business because that's such a huge alternative business, which is higher risk profile in the business, the whole company. And I'm pretty confident we are doing everything correctly. And I think that's the business area we want to grow our business.
Sure.
So that's how I start with Money Broker Canada. The name moneybroker.ca was my website I chose in 2020 when I started this business, because that time not too many people online, and I was one of the first online with the business. So such an awesome name, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's good. And obviously I've been dealing with you guys personally for the past couple of years too. So it's been nice to see, your team grow over the past couple of years under the Money Broker banner. Having been in the industry for quite some time, what do you think has been the biggest change in the market since you started your career? And how did you, take that change and kind of adapt it into a successful business?
Yeah, as I said earlier, I think initially, as any broker who get into the industry, they are looking to help client to try to win the client by offer the best rates. And
Right.
and later on, when they become more mature brokers, I think what I really emphasize and telling the whole team is we're helping to give solutions to helping people to solve their financial problems. So being offered solutions may not necessarily to best rate. So with the alternative lending part, I think we achieved that. So the switch from Schedule A lender or Schedule A broker, to alternative broker, I think that's a big step for us. And
Sure.
for our marketing, for instance, I never put on a rate on any of my rate sheets, because
Right.
whatever rate the other people qualify, you may not qualify, and you may not choose the best rate product is probably best suited for you. So we'd like to see the whole picture of the client's whole portfolio and suggest what's the best solution for them.
Yeah. How do you train your agents to approach a rate conversation with alternative clients? Because I know a lot of clients probably believe that they are an A client, but once you start reviewing documentation, reviewing their situation, they turn out to be a B client or maybe even a private client. So how do you train your agents to have that conversation? Because I'm sure it's not an easy conversation to have.
Yeah, initially I have the same problem myself too. How do I even sell a higher rate for the
Sure.
alternative mortgages? So I train my agent the same as I train my clients. I talk to the clients. So
Yeah.
if a client is sitting right in front of me and say, I bought a house worth $1 million. Right now, that's the current price. Initially, most of the house 20 years ago, I think average is 200,000 or something. So
Yeah.
but anyway, they say, well, I bought a house, but I don't have enough income to qualify because the bank turned me down. Or I can just talk to them, first of all, what's your income, right? They say, oh, I own a restaurant. I actually making 200,000 a year, but my reported income only 20,000. So I explain to them, the bank need the income to qualify. 20,000 can get you a maximum like 4.5 times, like less than $100,000 mortgage. So is that enough for you? Of course not, right? But there's another option with alternative financing. The other lenders, they may not look at your personal tax return, but they do look at your whole income, your business transactions.
Sure.
You're actually making 200,000. You actually qualify for $1 million. The difference is the Schedule A lender, the interest rate is 1% something, and Schedule B lender is only 2% something or 3% something, depends on your credit. Will you buy this house with this rate and get you 80% loan to value, or you wait for another few years to when you report more income or have more savings? So I think most people would choose taking a mortgage from the alternative lenders. I think so. Find out what's the needs and give them different choices. Actually, they made their own choice. I didn't tell them to take this mortgage.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, that's part of, the art of it. You got to show them their options. But thank you for explaining that to us and to anybody who will be listening to the podcast. I think it's really important to kind of understand how to kind of approach that, because I'm sure it's not an easy conversation to have, especially for, new agents in the industry where they're not too sure, maybe nerves and things like that. So listening to other people explain, how they approach it will definitely help them in the future. Talking more about your experience as a successful alternative lender, you mentioned it earlier, typical clients that you serve, business for self, there's some bruised credit, new to Canada segment as well. And, I like the fact that, once upon a time, that was you in that shoe as well. So for those clients that might be new to Canada, that, somehow reach out to you, they find you, they reach out to you or any of one of your agents in your office, how have you built a name for yourself in that sort of community where you are getting a lot of that business in the door?
Yeah, so for me, my background speak Mandarin, and most Chinese immigrants coming here, and lots of them are very business savvy because as a successful investor, they are coming here, they're already know all the business. So those I think is very difficult group, but it's a very profitable group because everybody like real estate, like to buy real estate. For me, I think to build up my name in past 22 years is being dependable, reliable. Whatever I promise, I can do. Otherwise, I never overpromise. So people come to me, have no job, no income. They want to Schedule A lender's rate. I tell them upfront, that's not possible. So I'm not force myself doing things. It's not possible. So I tell them, well, then if you are self-employed, even though you don't have that much reported income, we can see your business transactions. That's possible with Schedule B lender. And whatever I promise, I can deliver. And I think that's the most important part, not over-promising. And most of my business actually coming from referrals for the past clients and the real estate agents. For the real estate agent, most important for them is get the deal closed. So unlike lots of new agent, when I start a new agent, I give a referral to the agent, real estate agent. And I haven't been doing that, I don't know for how long, at least a decade. But real estate agents send me lots of deals because I help them to solve their problem too, right? Because
absolutely,
it's much more important to close a deal than the deal fall apart at the last minute. So I put my advertisement out and then just tell everybody where their last resource to help them to close the deal. Everybody think that's catchy, which I think that's true. I never really overpromise. I say, if you do have down payment minimum 20%, I will get your mortgage no matter what, which is true. Because if you do have a down payment, if you're not qualified for a Schedule A lender, you qualify with Schedule B lender or even private lenders. Right now, there's so much money in the industry. They're looking for a safe investment, private lending side. So that's also a huge part of the business, which lots of new brokers may not get themselves familiarized, then you're actually missing out.
Right. And how much of your business would you say is probably repeat clients you've already helped once before, maybe multiple times before, and they're obviously coming back to you, whether it's to refi or to make another purchase? Like, you have to maintain that book of business, right? So how do you kind of approach that?
It's hard to say what's the percentage of repeat client. I was thinking about, I didn't have a stats with it. But even yesterday, I was thinking of doing this podcast. Even yesterday, I have a client who I really haven't talked to for probably 20 years. And he goes, Christine, I saw you on the social media. Do you remember me? And actually, surprisingly, I remember him. So he must be one of my very first clients, because later on, lots of clients I don't remember. I really remember his name. He's self-employed, a convenience store owner. Name just popped out, right? So 20 years later, he saw my name. He came back. Not as a borrower, he actually being an investor into our Ready Capital Mortgage Investment Trust, which is a mutual fund trust, lending exclusive 100% to private mortgages. So that's the client I really appreciate, and then that's give me like the credibility too. So lots of my clients are repeat clients, especially the self-employed clients, and the same as realtors. If I save one deal, they agree for the send me more deals. Of course, all the problem deals, all the very income qualified, the best deals, clients already in the banks, right? So why they need mortgage broker?
Yeah, and that client too, he reached out to you again after seeing some sort of social media post or some sort of advertising from you, right? So how important is, that social media aspect or advertising aspect to your business? I know that you like to do a lot of it. So what does it mean to your business?
Oh, I think social media is like, I didn't really put too much emphasis on that until COVID hit. I think
Right.
the COVID changing lots of way what we do business. Like I didn't really have a Facebook account. I never really put much in the LinkedIn or things like that.
Right.
And so now learning from you, Brennan, I'm actually doing my first podcast. So
Well,
I
I'm
think that's very
glad to help
important.
out. Yeah, no, that's good. And I think there's a lot of value in social media and advertising. Your brand gets out there, it's relatively free at that point too, right? And getting your name out there and what you can do to help, clients that may follow you or may see anything that you do. I want to just kind of go back 1 second talking about that new to Canada segment. You obviously deal a lot with clients that are new to Canada, but over the last couple of years with COVID and restrictions and lockdown, have you seen that number kind of go down a bit because of the restrictions, or are you still full steam ahead?
Yeah, well, being a mortgage broker and like a real estate agent, we're not only doing business when people buying the properties, we do lots of refi as well.
Sure.
So for the past year, actually, it's one of our record years, actually, because real estate value increased so much.
Right.
So many people knowing invest in real estate is one of the best investment.
So last year, then it would have been probably more refi for new to Canada clients versus purchases at that point, or would you still say that there was still a lot of purchasing going on
Lots of
for
purchases.
your clients?
The market,
Okay.
yeah, the market was so hot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. No, and it's always nice to just kind of see from other people's perspective what's going on out in the marketplace, right? Other people may be down, other people might be up as well, but that's good for you guys and being able to, full steam ahead even during, all of this craziness. What's interesting that you said before was when you first started out, you did a lot of A business and now it's predominantly B business. So there's a big shift there from A to B or alternative that you've been doing more recently. Do you think that brokers could benefit from focusing on alternative lending? And why would you think that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think broker really should put their emphasis in alternative lending because being A side, you're basically fighting for rate. Just like you're selling something, people sell $10, you say 9, the other people say 8, you're hurting yourself. And those clients, they already probably well served by their own bank. So instead of chasing the best clients, I think if we can offer people solutions, lots of people would actually probably much more appreciate it than give them a half percent rate.
Sure, for sure. A few months ago, you had spoken with CMP about the rise of alternative and private solutions. Do you think you could speak to, why you think that this market segment will continue to grow this year specifically?
Yeah, especially during COVID, there's a huge percentage of people of changing their jobs, quit their job, or some business no longer exists, and like people thinking a new direction for their lives, and that also changing their traditional income. So lots of people would not qualify for the bank anymore with their own bank anymore. Like they still didn't pass probation, they still have a contract, or they're no longer working. So I think that's a huge demand on this portion of people seeking for mortgages. And also banks really, I think, getting tighter in terms of income to qualify the clients as well.
That's a good answer. And just speaking about obviously, alternative lending, from your perspective, how important is it to, develop that relationship with your alternative lenders within the marketplace? Because I know that there's, a lot of clients that may have more difficult situations to try and understand versus others. So having that relationship, I think it does a lot for, brokers growing their business, but I just wanted to hear your perspective on that.
I think the lender-broker relationship is crucial because unlike the Schedule A lenders or A side of business, I think it's a cookie-cutter business. You either qualify or not qualify. But E side of business, there's a lot of story to tell to the lender. Why this person have bad credit? Why this person, the income showing in the tax return is so low, but he can qualify for $2 million home, right? There's lots of story to tell and the relationship you have with your underwriter. And I think that's very crucial. They should understand your business and your clients too.
Right. What's one quality that you think a alternative broker needs to have to be successful in this industry?
Communications, definitely. So you have to really understand what your client's real needs.
Yes.
So real needs, that's actually my training with my new agent. I said, when the phone rings, the client on the other side of the phone, the first thing they say, oh, I'm buying a home, getting a mortgage. What's your rate?
Mm-hmm.
Because the real question it may not be what's your rate. They just want to get a mortgage, but they don't know what to ask.
Sure.
So even in a regular social gathering, if I see a person, they say, oh, you're a mortgage broker, what's your best rate? They're
Mm-hmm.
not really interested in what's best rate. They just want to start a conversation, for instance.
Yeah.
So don't let the question fool you. Find out what's the real situation and the real need. That's
Yep.
very important. So you got to learn how to communicate with the client, find out what's the real problem, and then you give solutions, and then that's a done deal.
Yeah. Perfect. That's a great answer. So, Christine, do you want to talk a little bit about Ready Capital?
Yeah, we started Ready Capital Mortgage Investment Trust, which is a mutual fund trust about close to 3 years ago in 2019. This mutual fund trust is only investing in private mortgages. The reason we started is because there's so much need for private mortgages. Before that, I doing lots of private mortgages with investors who has a little bit of money. They're looking for a better yield and safe investment. They come to me and say, hey, Christine, I have, say, a couple $100,000. Can you lend it out for me? So I've been doing a private, what we call the one-to-one lending for the past 10, 15 years. The problem with that is it's a one-to-one, even though they know where the money goes to the house, but still they don't have the flexibility. So if the lender need the money, they cannot get the money back. That's one thing. And secondly, it's still 100% risk. Even though the deal is safe, right now, the borrower could have family issue, they lost their job, they could not able to pay the mortgage, right? So still 100% risk. And also, it's not diversified enough. It's not flexible enough. In 2019, we started this Ready Capital Mortgage Investment Trust, and we pool all the money from the investor together. So the investor right now, anytime they need the money back, give us 2 months notice. So it's very flexible and it's very diversified instead of just one-to-one. Because we are mutual fund trust, it's pretty combined. We have to register with the Ontario Security Commission, go through the EMD to do all the offering, and we give investor reports monthly. By the end of the year, because we are mutual fund trust, we have to give 100% of the profit to the investors. So because we're doing so much private mortgages, we have lots of selections. So the projected return for this mutual fund trust is over 8%. And we pay monthly to the investor, and there's no lock-in period. So I think really that's one of the best investment out there. And then it's RSP and tax-free saving account eligible. So starting from zero, 2019, right now I'm very happy to report back we have over 400 accounts with the investors,
Wow.
big and small. Because of mutual fund trust, we don't need accredited investors. So anybody who wants to start saving, they can put money there. So as little as 25,000, you can take advantage of the investment vehicle. Usually they only are available for accredited investors. So we have, I think, over $45 million right now. So we can lend on lots of private mortgages.
And I guess it's a really good compliment to your business as well, because if you have a client that, say whatever the situation was, they needed a private mortgage, you're able to do that for them. You guys are helping that client, setting them up for success in the future. And then you're able to possibly graduate them into an alternative lender, like a B lender, and then kind of move them up that way too. So I guess it's good to have the solutions at the end of the day, right? You have multiple solution paths for that client, and ultimately you're working with them to get them back to where they need to be.
Yes, and also actually a solution I give to clients, everything is just for the situation. We don't lock in the client for long.
Right.
So our private mortgages, for instance, all fully open. And I say, well, because right now we have to close your deal, so probably quickly we use private mortgage to close the deal. And then we requalify them through the B lender or later on finally to the A lender. Also, for the alternative financing, I think it's very important to let the client know everything is temporary. Right? We give you a solution, help you on your situation. Later on, your credit situation change, your income situation change. You can graduate to an A lender.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least, what is your New Year's resolution for your business this year?
Oh, actually, I do have one, but
Okay.
I think it's very easy to achieve. I was actually thinking about this, always a new business. For me, I always like to try something new. But this year, especially, we already have a staff meeting, and I told my staff that this year's new resolution is really focusing what we do best and to excel on that. So our whole team, we're going to have a stronger team for our money broker team. It's already one of the best in the industry, but we're focusing, building a stronger team and excel what we do better at what we did last year, which last year is already a record, but hopefully this year will be another record.
Well, that's really great. And obviously a big congratulations for your success last year. I know that, throughout the pandemic, it hasn't been easy, but, to see, people having great success is really nice to see. For me personally, obviously, thank you to you and your team for your support of Home Trust. We truly appreciate it. We do everything that we can to try and, help your clients, find that right solution as well. So just want to say thank you for your support of Home Trust for 21 years, going on 22 years now, right? So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you joining the podcast.
Thank you, Brennan. Really, we have the best support, the best team in the Home Trust. We really appreciate it. And best underwriter too, of course.
Thanks for listening to this episode of I Love Alt Mortgages. Remember, we have new episodes every Tuesday. Please go rate, review, and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is an I Love Mortgage Brokering production.
Hey, Scott Packford here. If you're a new agent under 2 years and you're trying to figure out how the heck do I get my mortgage business going faster, I got a solution for you. Go to get10funded.com and check out a free training on how we help rookie mortgage brokers become rock stars. Now, if you're a new agent who's ambitious and you want to make more than $100K a year and you're coachable, we have a step-by-step plan we'll walk you through to help you find and fund your first 10 mortgages. We'll show you how to build a successful referral-based business that you can scale. Check out get10funded.com. That's get10funded.com. And thanks again for checking out this episode.